This is Daron, K1DBC. All stations please stand by. The Denver Radio Club Net will start in 5 minutes.
W0TX repeater.
Hello everyone here on YouTube. I'm going to play a video by the Radio Society of Great Britain, a year in review for 2020. So a couple of years late, but you might enjoy this. So this will be 5 minutes, and we'll take it to the beginning of the net here. Good evening and welcome back to the Denver Radio Club Learning Net for August 9th, 2023. Great place to learn for about ham radio and STEM topics in general. And thankfully, we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. This is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie. My name is Daron, Delta Oscar Romeo Oscar November, and I am net control for this evening's net. The last few weeks we've been speaking about let's see, some of our club updates. We've moved over from Amazon Smile to the Colorado, the city markets, King Supers. If you'd like to donate some things to us, that's a way to do that. We're talking about our Hamfest, upcoming Hamfest. We're talking about Aero and 2 meter 70 centimeter review, satellite operations, fox hunting, antenna gain, and a lot more. And tonight we'll be talking about any of those topics, and or we'll be taking your check-ins, comments, questions, updates, and more. We meet every Wednesday, except the third Wednesday of the month at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time on 145.490 and 448.625. You can contact us via email, elmer@w0tx.org. If you look over on our website as well, w0tx.org/officers, you can find a bunch of email addresses for a lot of the volunteers in the club here. So we also stream and archive our nets on youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. So if you've missed a net or missed a meeting, that's an additional way to view that content, as well as some behind the scenes of the net. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? This is Daron, K1DBC Net Control. Something we do normally say towards the end of the net, but I like to bring it up as much as possible. If you would like to help operate as a net control operator, there's a lot of opportunities, whether it be our Sunday night net or this net or our monthly meeting. There's a lot of opportunities there. So if you would like to help with that, you're more than happy to. We've put together a pretty cool tool here for a net control operator, where you'll put in a person's call sign and it'll automatically fill in all of their information. So people can also follow along with that, as mentioned in the past, w0tx.org/check-in, all one word, check-in, and you can follow along with the check-ins. Hopefully at some point we'll open it up for self-check-ins, but it's not available just at the moment. All right, all check-ins to the net will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. The suffix is the letter after the number in the call sign. If you can please try to use ITU phonetics for the call sign at least, and indicate if you have traffic or questions as you check in. If your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
W0
Kilo 0 Lima Papa Romeo, Lanier and Inglewood.
Kilo 0 Lima Alpha India, K0 LEI, Larian Lakewood. November 1, call for uniform Mike, Peter in Littleton.
Whiskey 0 Alpha Whiskey Sierra, Albert in Westminster.
Alpha Fox 0 Echo, Alex Brownfield.
Deputy 0 CIV, Deputy 0 CIV, Charles and Denver, no traffic.
Kilo Foxtrot 0 Alpha Whiskey Charlie, Bryan, Centennial, no traffic.
Kilo Delta 0, Victor Hotel Delta.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. We'll hold up there for just a moment. Few check-ins so far, really appreciate that. Let's see, I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins: K0LPR Linear, K0LAI Larry, N1GUM Peter, W0AWS Albert, KS0E Alex, AF0E Alex, WD0CIV Charles, KF0AWC Bryan, and I believe a new check-in, Patrick, Kilo Echo 0, Victor Hotel Delta, KE0 VHD. Patrick, thank you so much for checking in.
Correction, Kilo Delta 0, Victor Hotel Delta, Kevin, and good evening.
All right, sorry about that, Kevin. I got that corrected. Kilo Delta 0, Victor Hotel Delta, KD0 VHD. Thank you for the correction on that, and I apologize. And thank you again for checking in here. All right, this is Daron, K1DBC, Delta Bravo Charlie, Net Control. We'll take, again, call suffixes. If your call suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, and you'd like to check in, let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, please check in now.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Foxtrot Papa India, Ron in Lakewood, and I do have a question tonight.
All right, this is Daron, K1DBC Net Control. Hold up there for a moment. You may not have heard one of the Alexes check in there, but they had done that over our YouTube page. If you're ever wanting to do that, you're more than happy to do that. I believe that was a KS0E. I think we also had a K0RAP checking on there. Really appreciate that, Robert. We also had KF0FPI Ron. Thank you so much for checking in with traffic. We'll loop back to you here in just a few minutes. All right, this is Daron, K1DBC Net Control. We'll go and open up the whole alphabet. If you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Learning Net, this is a great place to learn about ham radio STEM topics. And thankfully, we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. So we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. Let us know your call sign. If you can, please try to use I2 phonetics for the call sign. And indicate if you have any traffic or questions, as well as let us know your name. So A through Z, Alpha through Zulu, please check in now.
November 0, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood. Good evening.
All right, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. Net Controller, I'd like to welcome Knowledge Flying Check-In. N0TRP, Jim, thank you so much for checking in. Again, this is an hour-long conversation. I may have missed that portion of the net script, but we have another 50 minutes. We have some traffic in there. I can bring up some recent news articles, things like that. And we've had 13 check-ins so far. Really appreciate everyone checking in. So with that, there'll be official check-ins throughout the net, and I'll take check-in. I'll take all call signs, all call suffixes. If you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, just for the count, or if you have any traffic or questions, let us know your name, call sign. And again, if you have any traffic or questions, please call now. All right, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. Might be a little bit of a quieter evening, but you all seem to surprise me, quite frankly, sometimes. So a lot of good activity over the last few weeks. Again, we've been talking about Aero antennas, KE0SUM. Jonathan was giving a review on that and kind of asking about satellite operations, fox hunting. AE0YR was asking about antenna gain. We had a conversation about that and try to go into some brief information on that. KI4WIN Daniel, thankfully, it came in and was able to kind of reiterate an event that our club is participating in for the second year in a row. The American Diabetes Association Tour de Cure, a bicycle ride, and we'll be doing radio operations support with that. So what else? We have our upcoming Ham Fest. We'll be doing a ham set ARLVE exam. Let me drop for a moment. We're now on hamstudy.org if you'd like to register for the VE test. That's happening August 27th at our Hamfest up in Brighton. That's an opportunity you can take advantage of there. You don't have to do that. In person is just fine as well in terms of registering. But there won't be any online testing, but this is kind of our first foray into ham study and online registering and potential proctoring of exams. So yeah, we've talked about quite a few things over the last few weeks here. With that, I'll throw it out to the group. Anyone else? Any other check-ins at the moment? This is K1 DBC Net Control. Any other check-ins, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu, please call now. All right, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. With that, we'll throw it over to Ron, KF0FPI. The net is yours. Go ahead.
Good evening, Daron and the net. My question is I want to hook two HF transceivers to one antenna. Can I use a duplexer or diplexer, or should I go to a coax switch, an AB coax switch? That's my question tonight, Jerome. Back to net, KF0FPI.
Good question there. Great question. Yeah, I'll probably defer to other people on the net, but yeah, using two radios with, you did say two radios with one antenna. Is that correct?
Yes, I understand you can UHF, VHF, two separate transceivers to an antenna, but I was shopping around today and I didn't see any information on two HF rigs, transceivers, going to the same antenna. KF0FPI.
All right, I just want to make sure I heard and understood that. Yeah, that is something our club has recently done at our field day and some of the DRC Saturday events, using a combination of the tools that you mentioned there, a triplexer and a duplexer. Some of them, one of them might be known as a bandpass filter, but in a combination of all those, we've been able to use 3 radios, 3 transceivers transmitting on 3 different bands using one antenna that supports that. So I don't know if Alex, KS0E, or anyone else can maybe comment on that in terms of how that works, or I think I can maybe bring up the products that we had there, but if anyone else has anything on that, go right ahead.
LAI.
Yeah, K0LAI, go right ahead.
It's K0LAI. My first thought is, as long as they're on different bands, the radios, there shouldn't be a problem. You might get some harmonics or something that might come through. If you have a lower frequency, you may have some higher frequencies that may come in to the other radios on the bands that they may be on. Also, if you've got splitters, some of the energy is going to split off and go back towards the other radios, so you might not get 100% of your power going out to the antenna. That's a possibility as well. And I don't know if it's still going to be 50 ohm or not, so that's something to worry about. That would need testing to see what the SWR is if you had more than one radio hooked up through some kind of device. A duplexer that could separate frequencies would certainly work. That's all that comes to mind just thinking about it. This is K0LAI, back to net.
All right, thanks there, K0LAI. Larry, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I can maybe read verbatim. I appreciate the follow-up there, maybe on something on triplexers, but if anyone else has any other comments or questions on that so far, I can read a statement here from commentantenna.com in terms of triplexers, but anyone else, I believe we, during, again, DRC Saturday events and Field Day, a combination of a bandpass filter for different bands, 3 of those, and I think 1 triplexer. I'll have to see if I can find the exact models of what we had purchased, but a combination of those, I believe, allowed 3 transceivers on 1 antenna, and I think it was used fairly well during our recent Saturday event, and I can't remember the exact follow-up on that, but I'll throw it out to the group. 3 transceivers, multiple transceivers using 1 antenna. Any follow-up on that? Go ahead.
Kilo Echo 00 Uniform Mike, late check-in. And this is KS0E with a follow-up.
Hey, good evening, Tony. Thanks for checking in here. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. We had KE0SUM Jonathan checking in. We also had KE0CNU checking in online. Appreciate that. Not sure if it's Tony or Harvey, but CNU got you checked in as well. And SUM, or excuse me, KS0E. If you want to follow up on that, go right ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Daron. Well, the first thing I would say is come on out to the DRC Saturday event and take a look at the setup that we'll probably have there in September. Mark, N0XRX, and Kevin, I think K0KPS, I think know a bit more about it. They were a bit more involved in getting the triplexer set up. But what I can tell you is, from what I remember, you had the antenna running into a triplexer, and in your case that would be a duplexer. And then we put bandpass filters behind the triplexer just to isolate the harmonics or, isolate the 3 different radios so that we weren't getting splatter between them. And I'll let this drop for a sec. But overall, it was a fairly straightforward setup. I think the equivalent for you would be your antenna going into the duplexer, and then from the duplexer, you would have 2 jumper pieces of coax that would go to your 2 transceivers. And as Larry mentioned, without the bandpass filters, you might be getting noise from when one radio transmits. But that's the setup that we had. It was fairly straightforward. You had asked about a coax switch, and I think the switch would let you do something similar, but you wouldn't be able to operate on both of those at the same time. It would just let you switch between which transceiver. You could select one transceiver or the other to be receiving or transmitting.
FBI.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Thank you all so much for responding in on this topic so far. Thank you, Alex, for providing a little bit of follow-up there. And yeah, check out our DRC Saturday event, September 16th, and there should be an opportunity to check that. But with that, FPI Ron, go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm kicking myself in the behind for not going to that last DRC Saturday, or even going to one yet. But these bands you're talking about on this triplexer, were they all F bands? And that's what you're using with maybe an added filter or whatnot? KFC RFPI.
This is KS0E. Yes, they were all HF bands, and we were operating on 15, 20, and I think 40.
FBI.
All right, thanks there, Alex, KS0E. And I do have an email follow-up from July 15th from Mark N0XRX. I can read that out here in a minute. But FPI, Ron, go right ahead.
No, that's exactly what I want to be able to do with both these HF radios rigs I have. One's still new in the box, and I want to pull those out. I guess I need to show up to the next DRC Saturday and pick Kevin's brains as well as Alex's and Larry's and who was there doing it. I got to show up to learn. KFC RFPI out.
Sorry. All right, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. I was muted on there on YouTube for a moment there, but with that, let's see. There's an email here from a couple of months ago from July. All right, yeah, just last month from Mark N0XRX talking about testing of the single antenna and using the diplexer and triplexer. The DRC Saturday POTO event activation went a lot better than expected. Minimal interface between bands, but completely acceptable. Some of the things they learned, discovered there wasn't any separation and a lot of interference on the second and third harmonic between bands. And the simple fix was don't be on those frequencies. Frequency planning is even more important. Operations like that. They also discovered SWR of the antenna wasn't as It was typically with the antenna DX Commander all band. They think it may have been due to they didn't have all the bands installed on that antenna and could have messed up with the residence of the bands that were installed. He had followed up with who we had purchased them from, a fellow by the name of call sign, Victor Alpha 6 Alpha Mike VA6AM, where they bought the triplexer and triplexer. He said the SWR will not be as good going through these devices, but shouldn't have been as bad as what they were seeing. So I think another follow-up was they needed to have a dummy load on the ports that don't have a radio connected, and that might cause some issues. So yeah, first part of the day, they didn't have anything connected to 10 meters, and then they checked the SWR, and later on they had a radio connected, but didn't check it, so we're going to have to do some more testing. So again, this is a hobby of learning. So again, yeah, DRC Saturday, again, will be another great event to check those things out. Diplexer, triplexer using multiple antennas, multiple radios with one antenna. And yeah, great stuff there. So this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. Anyone else on that so far? Please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, great conversation so far. Really appreciate that, Ron, FPI. So yeah, I don't know if you have any follow-up or anyone else has any follow-up on that, using multiple radios with one antenna. Some of the technology we've talked about is using a triplexer, diplexer, duplexer, bandpass filters, some antenna switches, depending on your needs and what you're looking to provide there. So anyone else have maybe some follow-up on that, some solutions you've ran into or worked through, or any other follow-up? Please call now. All right, this is Daron, Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie. Net control for the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. As you've been hearing, this is a great place to learn about ham radio STEM topics. We'd love to talk about antennas, testing, all sorts of things here. So a great in-person event, September 16th, Prospect Arena. Check out our club website under events, DRC Saturday, as we've been talking about. May need to go back and do something here. It looks like potentially, yeah. This is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, I can bring up, I have a few news articles, stories, things we've been talking about here recently, some club things. But at this point, if you're just tuning in, we'll take all call suffixes, all call signs. We'll take in check-ins. If you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, please call now.
Kilo 0 Golf Papa Alpha Bob in Lakewood. I was listening earlier.
K0 GPA, I got you checked in. Thank you so much for checking in. All right, one more time. This is the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. We have another 30 minutes. We are broadcasting on youtube.com/Denver Radio Club if you'd like to see some behind the scenes. w0tx.org/check-in, all one word. Check-in, you'll be redirected to a spreadsheet and you can see who's checked in so far to this evening's net. It's also a great tool to use if you'd like to operate as net control. So if you're ever interested in operating as a net control operator for our club, we will be able to give you access to this. You'll put in a call sign and it'll automatically fill in all of their information. So one more time, at the moment, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. If you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net just for the count, if any have traffic or questions, please call now.
0 Kilo Papa Sierra, Kevin Lakewood, no traffic.
K0 KPS. Kevin, got you checked in. Thank you so much for helping out here. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Another great thing with this tool is multiple net control operators can be logged into it. So if you're not comfortable taking check-ins, someone else can try to help you with that as well. So there's a lot of opportunity to help out or be a part of net control operations here. So with that, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. I have a few news stories, things like that we can bring up, but I'll take any other call signs or any other check-ins, comments, questions, anything else so far for this evening's net. Please call now.
GPA with a comment.
The time is 8 p.m.
K0 GPA, Bob, go right ahead.
Yeah, okay, I missed a net. There's Astronomy Net on Tuesday, but they're going to talk about the Perseids meteor showers, and I forgot all about it. Anyway, I think they start this week or next week, and one year they were so strong that on 2 meters on sideband, we were hearing New York and everything, all kinds of East Coast stations reflecting off of the meteor showers. And I made a couple of contacts, and I can't remember what year that was, like 80s or something like that. But yeah, they're starting up this month, and yeah, they have an astronomy net. It meets on 449, I think it's 450 on Tuesday nights. And I used to listen to that quite a bit. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, usually you have to get up kind of early in the morning to listen, see if you hear anything. But anyway, it's kind of neat the way that happens. There's a lot of people that do that. K0 GPA.
All right, K0 GPA, Bob, thank you so much for that information there. I think it's the Colorado Astronomy Net, as you mentioned there. I think maybe Kilo India 0 Alpha Romeo.com, KI0AR, potentially has some more information on that. It looks like they also have a Facebook page of the Colorado Astronomy Net. It looks like they're on the SkyHub Link network. I think the frequency you mentioned there, 449.45. I think they also meet maybe Tuesdays, or they used to. I don't know if they do anymore. 1900 on Tuesdays. So yeah, really great information there. So yeah, I hadn't checked into that, but yeah, really cool stuff there.
Be surprised what you can hear at night. It doesn't last a whole long time, but a lot of times you can get your different call signs and stuff like that. And usually they give out grid squares.
Very cool stuff there. Looks like some more information here over on skyhublink.com. Yeah, Kilo India 0 Alpha Romeo Net Control. I don't see the first name here, but last name maybe Burness. Join them for the Colorado Astronomy Net, hosted by the RMLRL and SkyHubLink. Yeah, so not only great astronomical information, but interesting subjects related to all things in the heavens. So really cool stuff there. International Association for Astronomical Studies, and yeah, really cool stuff there. So yeah, check things out. It sounds like there's a lot of opportunity to talk throughout the evening and to places that you may not know and further and far between. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, great. Appreciate the information on there, Bob, GPA. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I guess really quick on that, another great I think they probably might be related. There seems like there should be an overlaps. The Denver Astronomical Society, DAS. You could check them out on Denver Astro on their YouTube channel. So they provide a bunch of basically monthly meetings, things like that. Maybe not too much recently, but a general meeting about with Dr. Roger Clark on Cassina and Europa Clipper missions, and yeah, really some interesting stuff there. So really another great resource as well there. Denver Astronomical Society.
Check-in?
Yeah, go ahead with the check-in.
Yes, good evening to the net. This is Kilo Charlie 8, Hotel Papa Sierra. The name here is Bryan in South Aurora.
All right, thank you so much for checking in, Bryan. Kilo Charlie 8 Hotel Papa Sierra. Bryan, thank you so much for checking in. If you have any comments or questions, let us know. But see, you're potentially a new check-in as well. So yeah, appreciate you being on here. If you have any questions, let us know.
Much appreciated. Yeah, I'm kind of new in town. Lived in Denver before, so I'm familiar with the repeater. It's just been many years. So, yeah, I like astronomy and some other things, and I've had some fun during band openings and tunnel ducting that from the car were kind of amazing.
Oh, very much. Oh, very cool. Yeah, appreciate you checking in there. I haven't heard that term specifically, tunnel ducting. Just a very quick Google search. This might be the tropospheric propagation or atmospheric ducting. I think we've very briefly talked about something like that. But yeah, really cool to hear that. All right, this is Daron, K1DBC Net Control. Again, yeah, great. Appreciate everyone checking in here. We have another 25 minutes or so. Yeah, this hobby covers a lot of things. We appreciate people who can check back in after a few years, or if you're new to the hobby, welcome on in. So as you can see and hear, there's a lot to this hobby, whether it be emergency communication support through the Aries groups, a lot of citizen science and experimentation within antenna building and understanding propagation and radio building, things like that. So there's something for everyone. So this is Daron, K1DBC Net Control. I have a few things I can bring up, but anyone else so far for this evening's net? Comments, questions, further check-ins, please call now.
KC8 HPS for the question.
Yeah, Hotel Papa Sierra, HPS. Bryan, go right ahead. The net is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm kind of familiar with antenna design and building stuff, creating stuff, but I've just recently purchased a DMR radio, and I'm kind of lost. I've watched a ton of videos, read a lot of stuff. I've been on the digital learning net and so forth, but I think quite honestly I need to get hands-on in person with someone that can show me how all this works. So if there's somebody out there that's interested, I'm certainly all ears.
Question, what radio are you using?
I'm using the TYT MD UV 390 GPS.
So are you having problems with like a DMR code plugs, that kind of thing?
Actually, I went to the Parker Radio Association website, and I think it's AB0L, he's a silent key, he left a number of code plugs there, and I downloaded one and finally got it uploaded to the radio. It seems to work well. I've got my Pi-Star working, but I can hear everything, but I've never made a contact, and I just don't understand how to use the radio or the Pi-Star.
Well, I'm certainly not your answer. KE0SUM. It's interesting, but somewhat complicated.
Comment, KPS.
Go ahead.
Have you been to RockyMountainHam.org, rmham.org, and looked at their code plugs and downloaded for the Tetra code plug off the Rocky Mountain Ham site?
I certainly could try that. The one on the Parker Radio Association, it seems to work. It's just me knowing what to do and how to make the radio work.
Another option is to go to RM Ham and go to the Ham University. They archive their DMR radio presentations, and it's a PowerPoint presentation that's narrated by one of the RM Ham guys. That may explain a lot on the procedures for programming the radio and what you need to do. It's an option that you can go through at your own pace. So that may be an option, to get a better understanding of the DMR radio. Back to you.
KC8HPS for ID. Yes, I will certainly do that. I'll give it a look. Maybe I'll come away with some new knowledge. Thank you so much for the information. KC8HPS, back to net.
W0TX repeater.
K0 KPS for ID. Back to net.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Thank you, SUM and KPS for trying to follow up there. Really appreciate that. So yeah, HPS, Hotel Papa Sierra. Yeah, as mentioned there. So that the code plug you might be using, yeah, it should be working probably. That RM Ham one might be somewhat more up to date. They've put together quite a few code plugs for Tetra as well as Anytone and quite a lot of radios. So there might be some odd little thing here or there. But yeah, and as well, it looks like RM Ham has put a few DMR videos out on YouTube. So yeah, as surprising as it may be, digital radio is a little bit difficult in terms of programming. It's not just an offset and a PL tone and things like that. I mean, it's very similar and very close, but there's just a few additional things needed. And so yeah, once you start to get one working, you should hopefully be able to get the rest working. So yeah, if you have any follow-up on that or anyone else on DMR Brandmeister radio programming or any suggestions on that, go right ahead.
LAI.
This is K1 DBC Net Control LAI. I'll get back to you in just a second. One other note here was amateurradionotes.com is what helped me as well. Try to initially learn Toshin. I think he's local here, KE0FHS. I think he's been with the Colorado Digital Group. So amateurradionotes.com is a pretty good understanding, gives some good understanding of DMR as well. So with that, LAI, K0LAI, go right ahead.
This is K0LAI. The person was mentioning Pi-Star. That adds an extra layer of complication trying to get DMR to function properly on a handheld. And I have a couple TYT radios that are UHF only, and that was one of the first radios I got, and I got them to work fine under DMR. But DMR is a complicated thing, and you have to understand databases. If you understand databases, then it all starts to make sense. But I would try to make contacts without using the Pi-Star at all. I have Pi-Star as well, and I know how to program it. But I would try to use just the handheld itself and make a contact on one of the repeaters in one of the groups that you may be trying to connect to. The Pi-Star adds an extra complication, and you can probably learn more about the Pi-Star once you have good contacts with the handheld. Then adding the Pi-Star to the game can be done easier. K0LEI, back to net.
All right, good suggestion there. LAI, K0LAI. Yeah, whether it be the W0X Brandmeister repeater or another local repeater, try to go to and use that first. Program in the receive and the transmit frequencies, the basic information that's being programmed, that's being asked, the time slots, color codes, and understand that you'll have to maybe try to understand the concepts of talk groups. You'll key up one of them. Basically, you'll key up and it'll be only one talk group. And for ours at least, it'll be our slot 2 is only for our talk group. So it's not you'll be able to talk on our DMR Brandmeister group and maybe get some better understanding of that. So at some point if you want, you can get a Pi-Star. Yeah, it adds more complication, but you won't tie up a repeater. But it's complicated stuff, but it's complex radio, and it is radio. So glad to hear people are still definitely still interested in that. So HPS or anyone else on DMR Brandmeister. Again, appreciate it, Larry. Anyone else? Please call in.
A good question, Larry, LAI. What's the difference between DMR and Yaesu's Wireless X system fusion and that kind of thing? KE0SUM.
Well, that's an interesting question. There's a lot of documentation at Yaesu's website that explains how fusion works, etc. And I've never looked at it real close. I know how DMR works, and fusion is a different animal. It is a lot easier to program Yaesu radio to do its digital thing. I think it's really easy, actually, since I got my 991A and been hooking into various stations. It's really a piece of cake, and also trying to catch other stations that are far away through the network is pretty easy. I was surprised how easy it is. DMRs, once you understand it, it's not that complicated. But I've never tried to program up a fusion type radio other than just saying on the 991 that I'm dealing with fusion instead of analog. Anyway, so I can't really answer your question, but it is easier to program fusion, I think. This is K0LEI, back to net.
All right, K0LAI, this is Daron, Kilo 1, Delta, Bravo, Charlie, net control. Appreciate the follow-up. Yeah, I'll try to maybe bring some cursory search that I found here, but it sounds like, it's essentially system fusion. Sounds like it's a simpler programming rather compared to a DMR Brandmeister. SUM, Jonathan, if you have any follow-up on that, I can bring up a couple points as well.
No, Larry answered my question. Thank you.
All right, sounds good there, SUM and LA. I do appreciate that as well. So different strokes for different folks, if you will. I mean, there's that's the thing about open source market. There's just any options for many options. So DMR maybe has some more brand availability. It might be different markets might have more DMR versus system fusion and vice versa. And yeah, it sounds like there's a high learning curve here, according to this site here, for associating with code plugs, DMR radios. So, yeah, get a good example code plug and look into it. It's not too terribly complex, and change some frequencies, things here and there, and follow what the club says you need to put in here and there, and you can do it. But yeah, great to hear. If anybody is ever using any of this stuff, it's great to hear. So, anyone else on that subject, System Fusion or DMR Brandmeister, any preference or any follow up on that? Go right ahead.
I'd be a little bit interested to see how many people here do much digital. Larry said he's doing digital. I know a lot of people do FT8. I personally don't do any digital. K0SOM.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control.
W0TX repeater.
Give me just a moment here. First time you'll ever see this in the YouTube chat. Very quick poll there I was just trying to put in there. So if you're on YouTube and you want to do try to respond to that, some very basic options: DMR, System Fusion, C4FM, FT8. Yeah, I'll see if I'll throw it out to the net here. If anybody has preferences of whether it be voice or digital, whether it be FT8. Let us know. But if you want to check something, let us know. Yeah, sorry, this is the first time I've done F-Ball. It doesn't look like it can do too much here. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control here. Just trying to learning some of the intricacies of the polling system here on YouTube. But it looks like we've had a couple of options. Unfortunately, it doesn't let multiple options, but we've had looks like maybe one person say DMR, one person say FT8 and other digital modes. So yeah, if anybody else wants to comment or question on that, System Fusion, DMR Brandmeister. I think we've kind of talked about this a little bit in the past. I mean, it's some radios in some parts of the country. There's more proliferation of different products and whatnot, and it sounded like maybe System Fusion maybe has given away repeaters potentially in the past. I can't remember essentially, but it's all kind of closed source, and I think I can bring something up on that. But anyone else on DMR Brandmeister, System Fusion, any preference that you might have, or any digital modes on a computer, whether it be FT8 or PSK or any other modes like that, go right ahead. All right, this is K1 DVC Net Control. Great question there, Jonathan. I'll see if I'll try to be more prepared the next time and provide a more robust tool for polling. But yeah, if you're on the YouTube, you can answer that poll still. But with that, I think I'll see. There was a story exactly related to what we were talking about here. Let me see if I can find that. Can't find it just yet, but basically some of these DMR Brandmeister and System Fusion are based on closed source. They themselves, some of the radio manufacturers have to go buy and license. Here it is. Let me see. Article here, written on August 5th on hackaday.com. Break free from proprietary digital radio. very quickly to go on this open source amateur radio M17 project. Digital modes are all the rages these days in amateur radio. Hams are using protocols like Whisper to detect propagation, FT8 to get quick context, and many bands with low power. MSK 1444. M17 originally created by call sign here Sierra Papa Fox Whiskey Papa uses codec 2 to convert voice into digital formats before it is broadcast over the air. It's open source, unlike other radio standards codecs. It supports reflectors, which can link individual radios or entire repeaters together over the internet. So for anyone interested or who's been frustrated that there's no real universal standard for digital voice in VHF and above, M17 could be a game changer. So check that out, M17 project.org. Really appreciate that. Had a couple more people checking into the poll here. Looks like DMR is taking over at 60% and 20% for System Fusion and FT8 other modes there. So this is a K1 DBC net control. Yeah, sorry, I didn't include D-Star there, but anyone else on that, please call now. Yeah, sorry, didn't include D-Star.
Question, SUM. The thing is, with my short ham radio career that I've had, seems like you're cheating. I got into it as a technician, did my VHF, UHF stint, and then went to HF. And I've been really happy with HF, but I've never caught on as digital.
All right, SUM Jonathan. Yeah, good follow up there. Yeah, you know, some might not consider those modes as regular radio, but it is radio. So it may be going over the internet, and but look at all the proliferation of the Sky-Hub link and things like that. It's all internet linked, and yeah, it's I don't know. It may not be strictly pure RF in the traditional sense, but it is. There's a lot of experimentation and a lot of understanding and knowledge to go into them, and they kind of reflect some of these, at least DMR Brandmeister as well, kind of reflects some of the Motorola and actual public safety radios and some of our state and federal agencies and some of the radios that they use. So it's, I don't know, it's an interesting topic there, but there is definitely a lot to DMR Brandmeister. So what here, Robert Pickett in the chat here, digital doesn't mean internet, and it can utilize internet, and you can do digital peer-to-peer. Great follow-up there, and let me drop here for a moment. RM Ham is a great kind of example of that. I believe they basically use DMR Brandmeister, but they're not really linked online, essentially, really. I mean, it's all basically pure RF. So I think they're a pretty good example of it doesn't need to be interlinked via the internet. They do their own microwave interlinking. So they're doing a lot of cool networking engineering there themselves. So it doesn't have to use internet, but it's I don't know. I'll throw it out to the group. Anyone else on that topic or anything else? We have a few more minutes here. Please call down.
GPA.
Yeah, GPA, Bob, go right ahead.
I know people won't like my comments, but I think FT8 is just computer to computer. I tried it and I got bored with it, and a lot of people I know, they use FT8. They're not even at the radio. They say, oh, I can watch TV and work these stations. I mean, what good is that? I mean, I'd rather be on radio either doing sideband or CW. And I used to use packet back in the 80s, packet radio, and I've worked through the space station and that, but you use the computer, keyboard. And back then I used a Commodore 64. I worked through the Mir space station and the ISS and that. They had a relay link up there, and I used to like to do that a lot. That was just with a Commodore 64, but you had to be at the computer to do it. But like I said, I don't care for FT8, and I haven't used it. I used it once, and that was it. anyway, that's my comment. K0 GPA.
Bob, I'm just happy you had a Commodore 64.
Great computer.
All right, this is K1 DVC Net Control. Not a problem there, absolutely. You know what? And FT8, yeah, it's an interesting thing. And it really was originally created by Joe Taylor, K1 Juliet Tango, and low power operations, I think, for like some space communications essentially. So yeah, yeah, we just happen to have use of it for our contesting purposes. So it's an interesting world out there, honestly. But yeah, a lot of this is contesting for people, and yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I'll throw it out there. We have another few more minutes. I can bring up a few other quick things here, but we had a very quick check in there. KA0TIK Francisco, appreciate you checking in there. So over on our YouTube. But anyone else? Any other comments, questions, check-ins? Anything else that we've discussed so far about this evening's net, or anything else? Please call now.
KR0CEA, I'm just calling in to say hi.
Boring. KE0SUM.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I think we had a double in there, but SUM Jonathan, yeah, you know what? And it's there's things for everyone in this hobby. So yeah, you just find what interests you, and stick with that, and explore all the other options of the hobby if you want. So there was another call sign in there. There was somebody checking in there, and I didn't get you in there. Go right ahead.
Kilo Romeo 0, Tango Echo Alpha. No traffic.
Of your other quick things here, go appreciate in there, but find what interest. Go right ahead.
Kilo Romeo 0, Tango Echo Alpha.
KR0TEA, Terry, sorry about that. I got you checked in there. Thank you so much for checking in. Yeah, thanks. I just had to rewind there for a second. All right, this is K1 DVC Net Control. Yeah, we've had 21 check-ins here so far. Really appreciate everyone checking in here so far. We're nearing the end of the net. I can bring up a couple more things here, but if anyone else has any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's net, please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Very quick, a couple things here. Radio communication adjacent, essentially a Hackaday article, Voyager 2, communication reestablished with one big shout. As you have maybe heard in the news here, NASA had lost communications with one of their more far-reaching satellites. So article written here August 4th by Dan Maloney. You could practically hear the collective few as NASA announced that they had reestablished full two-way communications with Voyager 2 on Friday afternoon. Details are few at this point, but hopefully they'll get more information. The wayward command that was sent to the Voyager 2, almost 19 light hours distant from Earth, or reoriented the spacecraft by a mere 2 degrees. It doesn't sound like much, but the very narrow beam width on the Voyager's high-gain antenna and the vast distance put it out of touch with the Canberra Deep Space Network station. That is based in Australia, currently the only ground station with line of sight to the spacecraft. While this was certainly a problem, NASA controls seemed to take it in stride, thanks to a contingency program which would automatically force the spacecraft to realign itself to Earth, but using its Canopus star tracker, but it wouldn't happen until October. Let's see, instead based on, Heartbeat, if you've heard it, let's see. What was universally referred to in non-tech media as a heartbeat from Voyager on August 1st, it appears that what they were really talking about was the use of multiple antennas at the Canberra site to pick up a weak carrier signal from the probe. They decided to send an interstellar shout and attempt to reorient the antenna. The 70-meter DSS-43 dish blasted out the message early morning, August 2nd, and 37 hours later, science and engineering data started streaming in the antenna again, indicating that Voyager 2 was pointing back to the back at Earth and operating fine. So hats off to everyone involved making that fix and getting humanity's most remote outpost back online. Another quick story you may have heard here. We're talking about digital radio, and in the European continent and further reaches, a lot of digital radio is using protocols known as Tetra, T-E-T-R-A, the terrestrial trunked radio, digital voice and text radio communications protocol often used by authorities, industry in Europe and many countries other than the US. Advantage of digital communications protocols like Tetra is the abilities to be secured via encryption. So we don't see any encryption here in our ham radio hobby, but it appears that the Tetra protocol has been broken. They essentially used encryption keys that weren't long enough, and it was probably it was set up quite a long time ago, and they didn't think it was going to be broken anytime soon. And look at what we're here at now. So not a lot of Tetra here in the United States, but let me see if I can bring anything else here. Let's see, on that vulnerability is the air interface encryption key stream generator relies on network timing, which is publicly broadcast unauthenticated. Another second vulnerability is the algorithm has a backdoor that reduces the original 80-bit key to a key size, which is very trivially brute forceable on consumer hardware in minutes. So this was brought up a few years back, and they've tried to give the manufacturers and groups enough time to fix it, and it has not been fixed. So encryption on the Tetra protocol has been broken. One last news article here. If you're aware of the name Kevin Mitnick, he was kind of a computer hacker back in the 90s, and kind of resided in Denver during some of the heyday. So call sign November 6, November Hotel Golf, silent key. I guess I'll have to find the information here, but let's see, another news article on him here from 2002. Judge grants Kevin Mitnick, once the most computer criminal in U.S. history, a very expansive ham radio license. He paid more than $16,000 to legal expenses to convince the FCC to renew his license. So Kevin Mitnick, check him out. A lot of things a lot of technology that we use and a lot of things that we talk about, he has has been on maybe the black hat side of things, but he's definitely been a part of our hobby in electronics. So silent key here recently. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. With that, I'll throw it out to the group. Anyone else? Comments, questions, things we've talked about? Let us know. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. We covered quite a variety of topics this evening, none of which I chose to type down, but I will go back and do that. So youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. I'll make things into chapters. You'll be able to skip to the content that you want. So look forward to that in the next day or so. This will be the second to last call. Any other comments, questions, check-ins, please call now. Yeah, I think that photo was wrong. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. If you were looking at the video there, I just wanted to the photo for Kevin Mitnick's passing time was incorrect. So it's July 16th, 2023 he had passed. So you can check a lot of information on there. Again, Art of Deception, and really a lot of cool stuff that really has led up to the internet that we see nowadays, and a lot of technology that we see, and a lot of cool stuff there. So I'm sure he was working on a Commodore 64, maybe doing some ham radio stuff back in the day as well. So this will be the last call. Any other comments, questions, check-ins, please call now.
W0TX repeater.
All right, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. A pleasure, as always here. Didn't cover club business. Next week will be our club meeting, August 16th. Amanda Alden, our division director, is going to be, or section manager, is going to be giving us some information about our ARL Rocky Mountain Division. So we have a pleasure to have that. More information on our club website, w0tx.org. It's over on our Google Meet link. It is streamed on YouTube, but the chat happens over on Google Meet. Very similar to this evening's session, there's an Elmers session at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Just a general Q&A, and then the main program begins at 7 p.m. So we'd love to see you out there. All right, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. Again, if you're ever interested in taking net control operations, we're always happy to help you out there. We can help you with the check-in portion. And yeah, really do appreciate our club for allowing us to use the repeaters here. This evening we had a total of 20 check-ins. Looks like 4 new check-ins there. Really appreciate that. Along with all the regular check-ins, we had KD0VHD Kevin, KE0CNU Harvey, KC8 HPS Bryan, and KA0TIK Francisco checking in online. Really do appreciate that. So with that, again, more information on our club, social media, YouTube. But with that, unless anyone has anything else, I'll put I'll ask for any last-minute check-ins just for the count, or any very last-minute traffic. Last-minute check-ins, please call now.
Hey, Jerome, the original version of spam is squirrels, possum, and mice. KE0SUM there.
All right, thanks there, Jonathan. Squirrels, possum, and mice. Really do appreciate that. So, yeah, a lot of origins for spam, and yeah, gotta love that. So, one last call. Any other last-minute comments, questions, check-ins, please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC, Delta Bravo Charlie. Again, a pleasure as always. Join us next week for the, again, our meeting online, w0tx.org. Again, we had a total of 20 check-ins and a variety of topics this evening. Let me see if I can do a real quick recap here. Let's see, we started to talk about let's see, using multiple transceivers with one antenna and combinations of duplexers, triplexers, bandpass filters. Come and check out our DRC Saturday event, September 17th or 19th, I think. We might be showcasing that September 16th, excuse me, at the Prospect Arena. We'd love to see you out there. We talked about, let's see, some Astronomy Nets. Check into that. What else here? Digital code plugs, DMR Brandmeister, and popularity of other digital radio modes. We took a very quick poll. We'll maybe see if I can do a better one next time, but appreciate everyone there. And yeah, just rounded some up things with this last minute news there. So yeah, a pleasure as always. With that, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control, 7-3 wall. I will be clear, and we'll talk to you all next time. All right, thanks everyone for watching here. Let me see if I can bring up any quick video. Otherwise, we may just round it out here.
Hey, Bob, are you still listening? K0SUM.
I like ARDF because it's a good amalgamation of amateur radio, and it's good for people that like the outdoors because you have to be able to take bearings on maps, and it's basically a mix of orienteering and amateur radio, and it's something that caters for everyone because you have the people that like the construction, that can build the receiver kits, and then you have the people that like going out and doing the physical side of it.
Whether it's receiving video from the International Space Station, restoring classic broadcast vehicles, going out portable and operating from a hilltop, or experimenting with Raspberry Pis, amateur television has got something for everybody.
Radio construction is all about building your own radio equipment, and I like it because it helps you to understand the theory and the technology behind it. It's extremely rewarding. You get immense satisfaction from using something that you've built yourself, and I guess that's true whether it's a steam engine, an aeroplane, or a piece of radio equipment.
I love data contesting because it gets to use all the technology that I've learned, and I get to use it on the radio. I get to just be me, my call sign. The club I belong to has a really good contest group, so we all compete against each other.
I like shortwave DXing because of the buzz I get when I make a long distance, sometimes challenging contact. When I hear a weak, watery, fluttery signal come over the North Pole from the Pacific, some remote island, and I can I can contact it with my station, it makes my day.
Moonbounce is bouncing amateur radio signals off the moon and receiving them back on Earth. Why am I passionate about it? It represents the greatest technical challenge there is in amateur radio. For me, it's the heavy metal end of amateur radio. Large aerials, lots of metal in the sky, and lots of power.
So space communications is setting up a communications link between two stations, perhaps not normally able to do so with terrestrial communications. So what we do is we use satellites in order to be able to extend how far our signal can get. And what really gets me interested in space communications is the challenge. The additional effort that's involved there, that I can use a satellite that's been built by radio amateurs just like me, and we can use that to extend how far we can get with our communications, perhaps even to the other side of the world.
SUDA is summits in the air, which is when you climb up a mountain and transmit from the top to see how many contacts you can get. I like SUDA because it combines two hobbies that I'm passionate about, and that's amateur radio and hiking in the mountains. SUDA brings a new challenge to amateur radio, and that's trying to make a contact while the elements are fighting against you, and that's why I feel that one contact on the top of a mountain is worth more than 50 in the log.
I find it fascinating because there's so much change as in many other areas. Particularly, for example, we have these wonderful tiny devices that come from mobile phones and that sort of thing that we can re-engineer into amateur products and services, and we also need to find the ways to deal with them, to manage to handle them because they're so tiny. This doesn't just apply to the products, the physical device, it also applies in terms of software. Amateurs are reusing software into new applications all the time.
It's immense.
Limitless.
Opportunity.
Sheer diversity.
Vast.
Inclusive.
Breathtaking.
Fascinating.
It's the challenge.
It's educational and it's fun.
The beauty of the hobby for me is the diversity. You haven't got time to do everything, but that's fine, because if there's one thing that you don't like, try something else. There's a million different aspects of the hobby, and there's something out there for everyone.
There is something out there for everyone. So it's been a pleasure again, and we'll end here. So again, 7-3, and we'll talk to you all next time.